entrepreneurs have created 1.16 million jobs in the UK. You originally from Italy,
yep.
and you have been successful because you are being used as one of the examples of migrant entrepreneurs on the Forbes list of entrepreneurs.
Yes.
What we want to know is, did you receive entrepreneurship education from a traditional school in Italy or anywhere else?
I wish. I wish I did, Wilma. My background was completely different. I didn't have any entrepreneurial education, and I think that's one of the things which is missing in the schooling system, because they teach you history, geography, math, English, in my case Italian, but they don't teach you how to run a business. And so everything I did, I hired other mentors, I went to private courses that were not part of the standard curricula.
Interesting. What do you think about that, Professor Chris, that we hardly have it anywhere?
The curriculum is very dated. Most of the things we're doing because of history. We're not doing because of the future. Meanwhile, we're preparing students for tomorrow. We're not preparing them for yesterday. So I'm hoping that it can be taken seriously. But I don't see how teachers can really teach entrepreneurship with enthusiasm, because they're academic and they have always been in the classroom. So you need someone that's been out there, seen the rough and tough of business, to come back and enthuse students, inform them, and then empower them to be able to run businesses.
So when we talk about teaching entrepreneurship in schools, it has to be business leaders, or those who have had startups and who have had the experiences and the challenges of the weather when it comes to business. They are the best to actually teach entrepreneurship in schools and colleges.
Yes, because on our MBA programs now, all we do is use those business leaders as case studies for the students to begin to imagine. But it's different when those business leaders stand in front of the students and begin to relate their day-to-day lives and how they are able to mitigate risk, how they are able to go to new ventures, how they are able to adapt in a fast-changing environment.
That's amazing. One of the things, I was just looking at statistics, we found out that almost 6,000 shops have closed on the high street in 2017. So that's one of the toughest years for high streets in the UK. But your business, and businesses I would say, not just business, has actually provided jobs for a lot of people and the workforce. So what did you do? What are the strategies, especially for new startups?
Well, there are a few things that new startups need to understand. In particular, one is that the way people buy has changed. You know, before you wanted to buy that beautiful green dress, and you went to a shop in a high street, you find it, and you buy it. Now the consumer buy in a different way. They will go online, they will search for green dress, then they will look all the green dresses that pops up in front of them, and then it will be one or two which will be relevant for them. Then they will order one online, they will try it on, and then if they don't like it, they send it back. My wife does it all the time. Or the other option is that they will look online first, and then they will go in the shop second to buy and to make the purchase decision because they want to try it on. And so what businesses didn't understand, in particular traditional retail businesses or high street businesses, is that they keep focusing all their marketing material on getting people to come to the shop without understanding that people were going online first or on their mobile and then going to the shop. So definitely, if you're starting a business, start online first. First of all, you'd have very low overheads. You can start a business. I started my business with £100. First one. You can literally start a business with nothing, and you don't have a lot of salaries to pay at the beginning or expensive rent to keep the business going.
Which means the footfall on the high streets has really dropped very low. There are people that would never shop on the high streets. They only shop on online, because online.
I'm one of them.
You're one of them.
Guilty.
Yeah, because online you have the whole world before you. Have various options, whereas if you go to the high street, for example, you're going to only Oxford Street. It's just where you have an Oxford Street that is actually there. So, Professor Chris, what
now want to integrate your message to another platform, because that platform was leading the way, was this business for long enough, we know all about the business. No, you don't. You know about the business, but you don't know about the demographics of the society, because society is changing, getting more youthful, and the more youthful they are, the more technology savvy they are. And they are called digital natives. That means whatever they do or think is digital first before they do the physical. But we, from the old days, we say physical, physical, physical. We didn't see the convenience of going on search engine to look for items. We used to look for the yellow pages to get items. Search engine was just something you look for. Someone that is doing some research on computer, go and do the research there. But no, search engine has merged, and we do not have a guide to any of the product or services we want except the major search engine. So I feel if you're a broadcaster, you should be very interested in search engine. If you are if you're in the high street, oh, please ask your customers what they are doing. Ask your customers, do they have mobile phones? If their mobile phones have facilities for apps, then you should also have an app. The fact that you have a front shop does not mean that you cannot. You should also have an app. Why shouldn't you have an app that tells the world about you? Just like you have a front shop that tells the world about you. But your front shop only tells the people that go past your front shop. But if you have a front shop in social media that is 2.2 billion viewers or customers, you now know that you have a massive crowd of people going past your own page on that social media. So that's why, and this is not just shops, it's every single business in life. You must have a presence that tells the people about your products and your services first. If not, your competition will have it. And then you go out of business in time.
So, Simone, tell us some of the challenges you faced in businesses and how you overcame.
Oh, where shall I start?
Anyway.
Where shall I start? One of the reasons why I love businesses is running businesses. It is because every day is there is a new challenge. At the beginning, the challenge was, hey, I don't have any money. How do I even start my business? And then the challenge was, how do I market my business? No one knows about me. How do I get people to understand what I can offer? Another challenge was, I didn't know anything about selling. So how do I get then people that are interested now to become clients? And if I'm very specific, one of the biggest challenges I had, it was when I didn't know how to navigate any industry. I didn't know how to get in. I didn't know how to build relationship. And I was unknown. And that's the challenge that a lot of small businesses have. They don't have massive budgets to make themselves known. And there is the advice of go to a lot of networking events. But it's a very long route. You have to talk to a lot of people, and most of the time you talk to the wrong people. And at the same time you're thinking, well, but I don't have the budget to get known. So that was definitely one of my biggest challenges. How do I get myself out there? How do I get people to know about me?
And what did you do to get people to know about you?
What did I do? There were a few things. One is public speaking. Public speaking was the #1 skill that I decided to learn and master. And the reason why it is because I was looking at all these business leaders. And they had all one thing in common. They were great communicators. They were able to stand up in an event or online or on television or in radio, wherever, in front of a crowd, and engage the audience, be interesting, sell themselves and sell their products, but in a way that they didn't feel even he was selling. And I immediately understood that that was the #1 skill that I had to start with. And that helped me opening a lot of doors, from delivering a TEDx talk to deliver hundreds and hundreds of seminars and courses, radio opportunities, TV opportunities. And then now suddenly my profile started getting bigger, and then the business started following. So what a lot of entrepreneurs don't understand is that people buy less from brands and people buy more from personal brands.
People buy less from brands, but they buy more from personal brands.
Yes, absolutely. So they will buy less from a logo, but they're looking for a person that they can connect with. that is voicing what they believe to be true, that is voicing something that they have inside, and their product matches what they have inside. And the biggest advice I can give to any entrepreneur is to learn public speaking, get out there and communicate their message with confidence, and grow their personal brand so then every other opportunity can follow wherever they go.
So really you have to connect with your audience. You have to connect with the people.
Absolutely. We are all human beings.
Yes.
we need to connect with each other. It is in our nature. And now there are multiple ways to connect. Social media is a great one of them. Live in-person event is another one. So there are a lot of different ways now where the entrepreneurs can connect with their target audience without wasting any time or any money. Or we're talking before with Professor Chris about the cost of paid advertisement on print magazine, which is huge, and a small business will never be able to afford it. But also, it's not really effective because you are not able to track it. So do something that puts in front of your target audience to connect with them, as you're suggesting, and the business will follow.
Professor Chris, where should we start from when it comes to revamping the curriculum in schools when it comes to entrepreneurship? Because there was something you talked about, the module on management, so business management, and he said it failed to take into consideration the demographics of the society.
Absolutely.
And societal changes and behavior.
Yes. We should start from a very low level. You see, you don't get money the day you want to spend it. So if students are in elementary school and they see products and they buy products, you better explain to them what that means.
So which means really starting from the MBA class, it's already a failure.
Too late. Too little, too late. Because the MBA is for graduates, designed for graduates that want to go into business. So you read engineering, you come and do an MBA, or you read medicine, you come and do an MBA. No, that's too late. You should start from when a child spends money on a product. And that concept is explained to the child. This is value, and we are exchanging money to get value. And this will then maybe increase into what is now called business studies. But I don't like the word business studies, because business studies means that it's bystander. You're not participating in the act of business. The day you were born, you went into business because your parents bought some things on your behalf. So that day that you got the first item that you didn't make, somebody else made it, and you exchanged money for it, you became a customer. And that's what every single curriculum must acknowledge. If we acknowledge that, then we know, oh, it's just like oxygen. Because the day we were born, we started breathing in and breathing out. The day you were born, you started needing. When somebody meets your need, that's business. Because when they meet your need for a pen, then they ask you for money. When they meet your need for a car, then they ask you for money. So it's a matter of meeting the needs of the human. That's, to me, that is a basic definition of business. So if we drive it right from primary school and they see it, they come back, some people get on buses, they pay, and they get a ticket, that's a business transaction. The child saw it. So the child is entitled to know how that works, that somebody gets on a train and then pays for it, or somebody gets in a taxi and pays for it, because the child is seeing all of this business transaction taking place around them.
So never assume that a child is too young to learn.
No. They go shopping. They go to the mall. They like products, and they point to the products and say, I want that product. So they know that that product was not made by them, because that's a fundamental truth. We overcomplicate things sometimes. The fundamental truth is that I need something. I didn't make it. I have to get it. Therefore, a transaction takes place.
Interesting. Simone, you have something to say about that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it must be. It's not a conversation right now about should this be part of the curricula. It must be. Because entrepreneurs create jobs. And also the academic studies, the academic route, is not the right fit for everyone. For example, I started in that way. And I had my first job when I was 14. And actually, I loved more working than studying. I started university, not for me. I quit after a while. But the moment I looked at the application of running a business, of doing something for myself, when I started at 22, then I fell in love with it because it was practical. And that's the same thing that I think we need to consider in the education system. Academic is serving a part of the population which loves learn by studying and by reading textbooks. There are other people that love to learn by doing. They are creators. They want to run businesses. And there is a massive gap in the academic education for that. There are other courses, private courses, but nothing which is recognized, standardized, like we have in the normal curriculum, the standard curriculum. So yes, it definitely needs to be a must to put entrepreneurship education, entrepreneurial education, and implementation application.
Implementation application.
Exactly, because as Professor Chris was saying, you learn business by doing business. You can attend all the best business classes in the world. That doesn't make you an entrepreneur, because then when you go out in the real world, all the things that you've learned in the books, they're going to serve you this much. And that's who you are as a person, and the skills that you have developed as a person, that makes you a great entrepreneur, that makes you to have a successful business and not a failing one.
We're talking about Brexit now, whether it's going to be a hard Brexit or a soft Brexit. But the most important thing is that what will be the landscape for entrepreneurs after Brexit?
I don't have a crystal ball. I would love to answer. The real answer is I don't know. My opinion is that it will not change too much. That's my opinion. The reason why, it is because right now we are so interconnected in a global market that is very difficult to go back to the moment or to the place where everything is disconnected, or where it becomes very difficult to make transactions.
But do you think there'll be more opportunities for entrepreneurs after Brexit?
I think that opportunities for entrepreneurs are there every time. Whether it's within Brexit or after Brexit, I don't think it will make a difference at all. There are going to be industries that will be affected more than others. But for entrepreneurs in general, opportunities are everywhere. They're always there. There is always a person that needs something, a customer that has a need, and someone that has an idea to solve it. And whether it's Brexit or not Brexit, that will not make any difference. It's about the entrepreneur and how we as entrepreneurs are we going to support each other and create a good business no matter what economical or financial situation happens locally, globally, internationally.
So supporting each other, which is collaborating with each other to achieve the set goals.
Yeah.
Now, just before we go, the private sector in America is far more developed than the private sector in the UK. Now, why is that so, and what can the UK do to catch up? Because everyone can't be relying on the government.
That's a very good point. I think it is most of the time about attitude. If you're looking at the American sector, is more developed. The private sector in the US is more developed than in the UK, but the private sector in the UK is more developed than in Italy. So I have this connection here, and I think it is about attitude, and is about there are two things actually. One is about the people and how the entrepreneurial spirit is fostered in them, and the other side is about the opportunities that is possible to create. Now, of course, the more opportunities and the easier it is to start a business, the more entrepreneurs we will have. In fact, in the US, it's easier than here in the UK. But compared to Italy, the UK is a paradise for starting a business. I wouldn't be able to do what I do right now back in Italy. No way. Because the laws, the legislations are even tougher and stronger, and somehow it seems they don't want you to start a business. There's a friend of mine that says that Italy is like the Sparta of entrepreneurs. If they survive there, they can survive everywhere. So to answer your question about the difference between US and the UK, I think is about the spirit that people have. You know, in the US, there's always the American dream of people that made themselves and started from nothing, and I think that belief and that vibe is still alive there.
So it's a capitalist society.
Exactly, and was born in that way. Was born in that way, while Europe wasn't born as a capitalist society. And that's the difference in the cultural heritage that then plays a role right now.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Simone. Thank you, Professor Chris.
Pleasure. Thank
Well,
you.
this is Education Talk, and today we've been talking about education and entrepreneurship. If you have any questions, you can send emails to info@loveworldtv.co.uk. Enjoy the rest of our programs.
Scanning through